YouTube. Today we're going to be creating a BMI calculator. So let's open Notepad and get started. Okay, unlike my other videos, I am not going to be building this calculator in C++. Instead, I'm going to be building it in D, or Dlang. It's kind of like the successor for C++. The first thing I'm going to do is make my import statement, and then I'm going to import standard.stdio. This allows me to take command line input, std.string. This allows me to manipulate strings, which are like groups of characters. Like for instance, I can store like Q in a character, but I can't store Q hashtag QWQ. That's something I just made up. I can't store that in a character, but you can store it in a string. In order to use strings, you need to use std.string. And lastly, I'm going to be using std.conv. This library allows me to convert strings to different types, like integers, floating point numbers, bytes, etc. The first thing I'm going to do is make a function. It returns a float. It's called inches. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is create a float called feet equals readline.strip. This basically means what was typed before the user pressed enter. Dot to float. This basically means take whatever the user wrote in the command line before they pressed enter, convert it into a float, and then store it in feet. I'm going to do a similar thing to inches. After that, I am going to return feet times 12 plus inches. Then I'm going to make my main method. Unlike C++, Dlang's main method is a void, which means it returns nothing. And it takes arguments. Okay, so this will be void main string args. Now the first thing I want to do is print write Roman. I'm going to welcome to my BMI calculator with a couple asterisks. Okay, first I'm going to write your weight in pounds. Okay, float pounds equals read line dot strip dot to float. Then I write, enter your weight, enter your height in inches and feet. Float in, because I can't use inches because that's the name of the function, inches, in equals inches. Calculate the BMI and store it somewhere. So float BMI equals pounds times 703 divided by times n. That's the correct BMI formula. I want to let people know what their BMI is, so write Dlang, your BMI was, and then it's going to be BMI. After that, I'm going to switch I'm going to chain a bunch of if-else statements to find out whether the person is underweight, normal, overweight, or obese. If BMI is less than 18.5, write Len, you are underweight. Else if BMI is, so we know that it's higher than 18.5, but our next check is if BMI is less than 25. If it is, then I write line, you are normal. Okay. So I end it, and then I say else if BMI is less than 30, then I'll say write line, you are overweight, and then else, then I'm going to write you are obese. And then I just end it. But I want to point out something crucial here. I've devised a pretty simple solution. It's my stay function. Void stay. Okay, so it works like this. Int c is 0 equals 0 while true c++. Basically what I'm doing is I'm looping infinitely. However, this program will always end when the user presses X. So essentially, I'm looping until the user decides to stop. So stay. Okay, so I'll save this. Desktop as bmi.d. That's the file extension for D. Let's save. I want to add a disclaimer here. This is just for casual purposes. I didn't make this to be used for anything medical. Okay, so I'm going to test my BMI calculator here. BMI.exe. 140 pounds, 5'7", and then it is 21.9. We have 180 pounds, 180, 5'7", 5'7", again, and 28.2. So with that being done, we have finally proved that my BMI calculator is working.